But I mean, we actually just saw each other like an hour ago.
Yeah, I
But
know.
but as we start this thing off, I'll try to. I think the last time we did this, I didn't have a good start. We just started talking, and it was kind of interesting, but we didn't have a good conclusion and stuff because of what was going on. And but tell me a little bit about your chicken wing. How's it doing?
my, my shoulder cuff surgery. I'm so excited. Apparently, I'm into shocking doctors, right? I shock neurologists, and apparently, I shock shoulder doctors as well. And they told me I'm the worst shoulder injury that they've seen in a while. That I've had shoulder muscle atrophy as well as recent shoulder injury, right? So they've
So like your shoulder was already like atrophied,
yeah. So
and then it
I
got the injury on top of that.
yeah. So um
Did you never
so
lift your arms above your head or what?
no, I can't.
And you got the surgery like the day before the new year?
So yeah, the 28th, so 2 days before,
Yeah.
right?
It's been almost a
Shoulder,
month. How are you doing?
yeah, this thing for 6 weeks, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sitting at a month next Monday. So I got 2.5 more weeks of this. And I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm getting a lot more mobility, but
Yeah.
thank goodness
At
for
least you're
this
not high
dog.
all the time like you were.
Yeah, it was like for
First couple
three
of weeks
weeks.
there, you were just
3 weeks
stoned
I
all
was
the
on
time.
codeine.
Yeah.
I'm not responsible for anything for the last 3 weeks. Except wait, we signed an
We would have a
international
talk and you're
contract.
like, I gotta go and blah.
Wait, you have some of that on
I have
video,
to go
don't you?
take my pill and then pass out for the rest of the day again.
I slept 4 hours. It was great.
Yeah.
Wait, I signed up for crypto tokens. I'm not sure what I did during that time period.
You signed away 90% of the company.
That's right. Wait, I signed something in there. My name was signed away on something. But yeah, you guys made sure I didn't sell anything major in there.
Yeah, not that I know of.
But yeah, well, it's finally time to re-engage. Finally time, like this doesn't, and it was so painful at first. I handled pain well, but boy, this shoulder, whew, it's tough because there's all those surgery points. It takes the life out of you.
So we're coming to hopefully this new update, huh?
Yeah, Lev and that, well, you heard Austin say last night he's been chatting with Oliver and Lev, and so it should be fixing everything with the Android version. And Austin's familiar with releases, fixing up some of the security issues, or not issues, right? We don't have security issues. We're just solidifying another layer of security, right?
Yeah.
Security improvements, all that fun stuff. So that'll be nice to see. Arrow TV coming out. We got a lot of upgrades and improvements coming that I think will provide a lot of better product for all the users. It'll be nice. It'll be really nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, Arrow TV is coming out hopefully in the next 48 hours.
I know, right?
Before
That's
this,
exciting.
before I even get this on YouTube, it'll probably be out. And so that's exciting. So you can go to arrowtv.com, shameless plug, and start watching. Right now it's mostly old movies, you know. It's because Arrow TV is about like the it's for emerging filmmakers and the things that inspire. So until I can get more films from emerging filmmakers, what we have is a lot of inspiration. I even have like some of the, I mean, I had to put like the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and stuff like that on there. I mean, things that are silent films that are like they blaze the trail. I've got like the stuff that literally is like the things that, you know, made movie history, and then I've got a lot of crappy stuff on there too, that are just like, you know,
Here's to the crap.
somebody had a camera and they said let's do it. But that's kind of the attitude I want behind Arrow TV. We want people to do it, right? Just go out there and make a film. Don't worry about bad or good. Do your best, and then let the audiences start saying what we think about it, right? And I think if people would start doing that, and they'd start, I think it comes from a thing I saw Steven Spielberg say, and he did it at some commencement address. He said he talked about when he was a kid and when he first made his first movie. I think he was like 12 or something like that. He got, and what it was is he didn't care about the camera part, the film part. He had seen a movie by, I think, Franco Leone, or one of those big, one of the old guys, right? Or one of those cinema. His first movie he ever saw, he saw a train wreck, right? And he started getting his dad to give him train sets, and he would sit there and keep crashing these trains into each other to try to see them do what was on that thing. And he kept breaking trains and stuff like that. But what he finally did, and his dad was like, I'm not going to keep buying you these trains because you're just going to keep on crashing them into each other. Because he was trying to reproduce this moment in this film he saw, the first film he ever saw at the movie theater. So then he got like the, family's old cameras, I think about one of the high 8 cameras, and he filmed it doing that whole thing, right? And he was a Boy Scout or something, so he took it to the Boy Scouts and showed it to the Boy Scouts, and everybody thought it was great. And he said just that feeling that he made something that people really liked.
Right.
Like, now he's Steven Spielberg, right? And he said that's probably what compelled him to be able to do all the stuff he did, especially at the beginning, because every single movie he made was about getting that reaction from the audience and getting the audience. And that's what's in his films. All of his films are just cathartic, right? Because you go along with this action. And I think that's what we need to start. That's what we need to promote with Arro TV. I think that's what we need to promote. Go out there and do something. You got an iPhone can do more than that camera he had ever could do. I mean, with my iPhone, I can blow things up. I can shoot laser beams. I can put a lightsaber in somebody's hands. I can have spaceships fly by and shoot you. And I can do that with my phone.
I still love your first challenge video that you produced. It still excites me of the intensity.
The trailer I did.
Video. Yeah, I still love that. I still
play that was all on my phone.
I know. It's hilarious. I just play it and just get all excited. It's like, dude, just the power to be able to create that.
Yeah, put the helmet on, and I'm in a, and then my plane crashes, and shooting missiles at an airport. All of that's me walking around town and shooting it, just that in my house, right? And that's what I would like to see. I like to see people, whether it's 5 minutes long or it's full length. Let's see what people do, and they're not going to you improve. I think that's something that you see this with anybody who has become a good artist in anything, but painters say this all the time, and there's really not a big difference except for the cost between a painter and a filmmaker. But painters say this: the biggest problem with young painters, and this is the same problem with young filmmakers, young musicians, everything, is they're so busy wasting their time on trying to make it perfect that they're not moving on to the next thing, which will make them better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So you're always trying to get better with each new attempt, not sit there and take the first thing you're working on and try to make that perfect, because you're going to end up wasting a bunch of time. Get it done, look at it, figure out what you can do better, and then apply that to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And that's how you become really good at things in the arts, right? I remember at the school I went to in London, the design students, they all had this portfolio they had to build the entire time, this 2-year program, right? So they would build these beautiful portfolios, amazing art, and they would have it, and they would be allowed to use that to try to go get a job, an internship or apprenticeship somewhere. But it's on their last day, they had to destroy it.
Wow.
Their entire portfolio, everything they'd done, they had to actually burn it in front of everybody else and say, that was learning, now go do it, right? Don't rest on those laurels, go on to the next level. Don't think about what you did great back here, go do something great out there.
Very powerful.
Yeah, that's literally, I mean, the essence of becoming a better artist is move on, right? I remember when I was acting, everybody was like, oh, if we could do that play again. I don't want to do that play again. And then one time I actually had to go back and take a role that I had done for like a year. And I couldn't even remember the lines or anything else. They're like, how did you do it 100 and sometimes you don't remember the lines? I moved on.
So there's a chance when I forget everything that I did, that it's still actually valuable.
Yeah. Because you probably don't forget the good parts, the parts that are like what you did wrong and what
Yeah,
that
the learning
feeling.
thing. Yeah.
Right. You start getting it's your talent is knowing that wasn't quite right.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
It was the knowledge of what was it. I mean, if you thought that was amazing and it sucked, then the problem is your talent. You lack talent.
I lack talent.
You think you're awesome and you any suck. Better. Then there's a problem, right? Right. If you can't look at yourself and go, man, that's just not good. Right. And you can't look at something you did. I used to hate watching myself on videos. Well, luckily I was a stage actor for all those years. And I never watched the videos, right? They would always do like one video, the archival video, and people would sit down and watch it. I never watched it because I always thought I sucked on it. Doesn't matter what anybody else thought. My judgment of myself was always, I can't believe, listen to my voice. Listen to this. Look at how I move right there. I'm picking apart every single thing I do. And I just stopped watching myself after a while because I just went by the feels, right? I know this doesn't feel right. This isn't quite right. You know, you learn to judge yourself as you're going, and you hopefully you refine it as much as you can. But that's what we're trying to do with Arro TV, is make that a space where, it's not going to be, everything's not going to be freaking Steven Spielberg. But that doesn't mean the next Steven Spielberg won't appear.
That's right.
Right? We want to be the place where that Steven Spielberg, that Netflix isn't going to see because they don't have a literary agent, or Sundance isn't going to pick them up because they don't fit within whatever what they're looking for, right? I would rather get somebody out there and then the audience starts saying, wow, I really like that, right? And the audiences start saying, this is what's good and what's not. This is what we accept. This is what we want more of. Than it being money people or they're professional artists that decide who
copycat
is as good as them, right?
Or copycat movies.
This is like TikTok, right? I mean, TikTok is starting to get into the social media idea, but you actually have all of these things on TikTok. Is the way you blow up on TikTok is go to the people who are most popular and copy all their stuff. Really?
Yeah. That's how
not creative.
You individualize yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. The way you get enough views that you can then try to monetize yourself, which is really what that's all about. Get up over 100 so you can have your creator account or whatever, is about copying your way there. And that tells me that everybody's just trying to get conformity, right? The algorithms are built for conformity. They're not for creativity, something new and something exciting. So I don't know. Do we have artists anymore that really don't want to conform and want to create and want to be something new and exciting? If you look at Fox Television, why did it blow up when it did? Because they did all the stuff nobody else was going to do on the network television channels.
Correct.
Married with Children, The Simpsons. They did the things that nobody else would put on network television, and it blew up because of it. All of Turner Broadcasting kind of grew out of that. It's hopefully we can be the same. We can do the same for the next generation. That's what we're trying for.
Sounds fair. I like it.
Yeah. So have you been watching, speaking of movies, have you been watching The Book of Boba Fett at all?
I saw some of it. I saw the first two, and then apparently I caught up and then got distracted on something else.
Okay, so I won't talk about it. We can't talk about it then because there's some.
The first two.
I watched the fifth one yesterday.
And
I'm not crazy. I love Star Wars, not as much as you, but or Justice, who are both complete nerds, telling me about war.
You don't even want to know what I'm negotiating with my wife for my birthday. You will hate me, and I apologize.
If we had that $1 billion, I would build you a full-size Millennium Falcon, and if I could, I would get it off the ground.
It's okay. It's okay. Now, Now I saw the Chick-fil-A blimp go by San Antonio. You know what we need?
What?
We need an Arrow blimp that's purple with the Arro Social logo in the front.
Well, I
Blimp's
know.
fine.
Well, I talked to you about that right back in the old days when we talked about proper dirigibles.
Yes.
So Zeppelin, you can get one for $12 million built for you.
Yeah.
So we
let's
don't.
not
But
hold
so a
out for the
blimp
12
has to be
million.
a blimp has to be way less than that.
Oh yeah. I
It's
think
not a
it's
rigid
only in the
frame.
200,000 category.
That'd be
We'll have to
sweet.
check. And then of course the pilot salary, because I don't think
Yeah, you got to
can-
hire somebody who's going to fly around.
Yeah. I think it's doable. I think it's in the $1 million range, is my suspicion. A
be
gigantic purple blimp with the Arro Social logo or the Arro TV.
Yeah.
I think it's in the budget for the next 2 years.
But I mean, that'd be awesome. It's all marketing.
That's right. It is
It's
on
in the marketing budget. When we have that marketing,
Not quite
budget
that large
big, then
yet,
let's
but
put
we're
that in
working
the
on it.
But yeah, Boba Fett. I know you guys are into that. My son will go into all kinds of lore of how such and such came from the minds of blah 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 and blah blah blah. Blah. I'm like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
You watch that on. He watches on YouTube, I think. You read all. You listen to all the books on tape, so you know
Yes,
all
I
the
do.
canon from because you listen to it.
I know the old canon too before Disney messed it all up.
Yeah, and I kind of watch stuff and be like, okay, I just kind of judge it as it comes and decide whether or not it matches. And if it doesn't match, I try to justify why it doesn't match. Like somebody's lying.
That's
It's
fair.
the only reason
Anything
that I can think
before
of.
the Clone Wars is okay, and then the Clone Wars before Star Wars, the original, and then it's kind of mucked up in the middle, and then anything after the current Star Wars gets muddled is the trouble.
Yeah.
But then Rey and all the new characters are
And then people were going around Boba Fett kind of isn't Boba Fett. And this might as well,
really.
Well, he lived with the Sand People and he almost died. And that was no. Disney needed an antagonist to become a protagonist.
Yes.
So they had to create some kind of character arc that made it possible for him to go from being a bad guy to a good guy.
Yes.
No,
that's all.
There was some good stuff they did actually. If you look all the way back to the Clone Wars, to the first 3 episodes, when Jango Fett dies, showing the child pick up the thing, and it gave justification for why he had a problem with Jedi.
Absolutely.
Right? It gave you a reason why he joined with the dark side to wipe out the Jedi. He had a problem with the Jedi from that moment on. His father died. They kind of glance back to things of his father flying off and his father not being there. And that they try to create that in the series
the
of
animosity.
Him, where they give you some of his like dreams or whatever, or memories, and they allow you to kind of see that he's a deeper person than just a suit that goes around and killing people. Right.
Although
and that helps a little
a suit that goes around killing people for money.
Yeah.
Very well, by the way.
Yeah.
Until he's thrown into the Sarlacc.
So they basically they have to round him out, and they have to give some kind of justification for why he would start caring about somebody other than just his bounty and killing Jedi.
Yeah, which is the same problem Lucas had with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
With 3 movies.
But Darth Vader still has the 2 sides, right? There is a balance to him. And I came up with this thing with Justice the other day. I thought about this and I talked to Justice. I threw this at him. A story, alternate timeline, right? Of Star Wars. A what if. So what if in The Empire Strikes Back, remember whenever Luke flies away and the ghost of Obi-Wan says he's our only hope, and Yoda says no, there is another. Of course, referring to Princess Leia.
Yes.
What if when he went off there, he got turned to the dark side, and then the other ones would have to go and use Princess Leia to become the only hope? Because then she would be the light, he would be the dark, and now you have balance to the Force because the twins. Which would basically then be take the end of the Rise of Skywalker and all that stuff, it would actually make that movie
Start
now be
making
about
sense.
Princess Leia and him,
That would make a lot more sense.
right? Because that battle that they had to have with each other to bring this balance to the Force would actually be about those twins coming together in the end. And it would be a much better story than the
It
last
would
3
be
episodes.
than an old curmudgeon falling down a gigantic tube of death,
Yeah.
sustaining life forever for years and years.
Anyway, so that's the idea. But that was my idea. What if we did an alternate timeline? So we didn't go 40 years in the future. It happened right out of the thing with Return of the Jedi and all that stuff. Then started being about Princess Leia becoming this Jedi and her awakening of the Force in her, and and now everything that was Rey is now her, and there never is a Kylo Ren. There's just Luke and Leia coming at each other throughout
That would
that.
make sense.
That'd be a cool time. That would be a cool what if.
That would be.
So if some nerd grabs that and turns that into another story, just remember I have copyright on this one. Just so
who owns that though? Is that a Disney own or is that a Lucas own?
Disney owns it. So far as I know, is Disney bought Lucasfilm. Disney's bought all rights to Star Wars. So if Disney wanted to do it, I guess they could cut me out, but they should cut me in because I have better. I can fill out the story better.
I have better ideas.
Yeah, because I have better ideas than all of them. They should have hired me back when I was in college and tried to get a job there.
The way Disney works, if you write it in cartoon, you might be able to own the story, but it has to be in cartoon.
I don't know. I think Disney's really good about letting people just kind of run with their ideas and then stepping in later and capitalizing on it. But that's okay.
Yes,
I have no problem with that actually.
Exactly. Why if you're in cartoon. Well, yeah, you could do it in stage production as well.
No, I don't think so. I mean, really, they own. Don't mistake that Disney has covered every single angle that you could possibly own. Anything that they buy, they've covered it, right? There's not like you're gonna get around a copyright. The only thing you're gonna pull off is to totally make.
I don't mean to get around anything.
Only way you're gonna do it is to spoof them.
There's more than enough people who have gotten jobs from Disney that basically they started drawing Mickey, right? And then because they drew Mickey so well, Disney offered them a job, right?
Yeah.
That's literally how you get employed by Disney, by drawing just as well as other Disney artists, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you get any job.
Disney's really good. I think from what I could tell, Disney's really good about nurturing new artists because they're out there looking for the best of them all the time, and they want to own all of them.
Yes.
And they've got the money to do it, so they're really bringing in them, and they're not only bringing them in, but they're giving them a chance to get out there and do some things, right?
Absolutely.
They're giving them the resources to make things.
Yeah, and I think they do it well. Certainly, they do it better than some of the other companies that I've seen, and they nurture more than other companies that I've heard about. And so, all I'm trying to do is encourage trying the storyline, right? They will certainly let you work with the storyline, but then don't go try to steal it or sell it or expect that you're going to be a billionaire off of their storyline.
Oh, and you shouldn't anyway, because it's not yours.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars that you came up with an alternate or some add-on. You're adding to something somebody else already created. It's not the same.
If you really have a story, then go to Batten Books and sell it to them, right?
Yeah.
And there's more than enough opportunities for all that.
Yeah. Create your own story if you're trying to get everything out of it. Then stop just adding on to somebody else's universe.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is what we're trying to do, right? We've got characters of our own, writing their own story and fighting their own battles. Right? Yeah. Sadly, a lot of them are true, real battles.
Yeah. They're spoofified versions of real battles that are happening in cyberspace every day.
Yes.
We just get a cute antagonist or protagonist out there who has to deal with cyberspace that everybody has to deal with, or people are not aware that they're dealing with it.
We have
Right?
changed the names and faces to protect the guilty.
Yes. But you will know who we're talking about.
If you paid attention at all.
If you pay any attention at all, you will
You
understand
you
who
can certainly
Chancellor,
draw correlate.
Chancellor, and the paratroopers are.
Pun intended.
Yeah, you will know who we're talking about. I think that I haven't found enough. I haven't done enough of them, right? Boggle's pretty easy. I mean, but
Dude, I am so excited about the storyline of Robin Hood. It's
Yeah.
it intrigues me, right, to see other people's conversations and thoughts, and we've obviously got a concept that we're moving forward with, and one that we have tested, implementing, and we expect will work, right?
mhm.
Every evidence shows that it will, but then you've got to follow through, and you've got to get enough people to come along. You got to build community, you got to build a network, you got to have enough money to intrigue, entice, and then it's not that the idea is wrong, is that there's not enough of a following or enough of a proof of concept to actually propel it to the completion that it needs.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing, right? Because we want to do it in a CGI format.
Yep.
We did the first one, of course, was claymation, and that's my extremely bad claymation, which ended up being the running joke in the thing, is that the claymation sucked, right? The claymation characters are actually referring to the fact that the creator made some did a crappy job.
You were a little bit limited during the pandemic.
Yeah, I had a bunch of
understand.
clay laying around my house, and I was like, yeah, here's an idea. And I actually just started making the figures, and I was like, what's with it? And I started just like you play in, oh, this one talks to this one. Oh, what if we did? Oh, wait, then they do this. And the story came out.
It was perfect recycling and refuse reading, so that was great.
Yeah. And yeah, it turned into a little short, and it's not awful. It's just what it is, right? It's as low a budget as you could possibly have, right? It's crap you found laying around. That's what my budget was. Crap,
Thanks,
I just had on hand.
CEO, for giving us no budget.
But that's okay, because that didn't come out of any. That came from us originally with just that comic strip, right? So
Yeah.
at the point that the claymate that we moved over to the claymation, it was just the comic strip.
Yeah, it's pure creation.
And that's all we were even thinking about, was the comic strip, right? We weren't even thinking about doing anything else but a comic strip. And then it was like, yeah, what the heck? Let's do it. I'm stuck at home for the next month. Might as well.
What else can I do?
Yeah, what else can I do? I'm stuck at home with literally nothing else to do except for garden and learn how to bake, which is why I gained 50 pounds.
You made the right choice. Let's play with clay.
Yeah. No, I still baked and gardened and gained 50 pounds. But I also made some pretty cool stuff. And then when I made the second iteration of the clay, they were actually much better. They were really good. They actually looked really good, the second iteration of the clay puppets. But it's just hard, man. Doing claymation, I'm sitting there watching Justin Rawsh all the time, trying to figure out how he does it. And like the way he does it is he makes them out of clay and then he casts them into like cold foam puppets, basically. And he has something that's a lot more durable than clay that he's actually working with most of the time. And I didn't have that, and I got tired of her. If you could actually see in the film, right, you can see her shrinking as it goes because her legs keep on getting smashed more and more as the, I'm like, keep trying to readjust her legs, and her legs just keep on shrinking as I make her. Plus, you got the hot lights and stuff like that. Probably didn't help. And I'm like, oh my god! But it was fun, and then I went back to Blender from there, right? So that brought me back to, oh, I used to use Blender. Let's see if I can make this out of Blender. And then I got into Blender, and I was like, wow, Blender has changed from what it was 8 years ago to something totally more advanced, and I do not know anything that I'm doing right now, and I had to relearn Blender from scratch pretty much.
It was quite the learning curve on that.
Yeah, it took a while before it got where I got pretty good at it. It took me almost a year of trial and error to get, and studying to get to where it's actually okay. At the place we're at right now is we can do some okay animation. My modeling is pretty good, and the animation is coming along, right? There's some difficult animations. It's more about my imagination being bigger than my skill level at this point,
which is a good thing.
But we're still, yeah, my skill level has to constantly be brought up, because I want to do stuff like make it weave in and out of things, and I want it not just to look like it's flying through cyberspace. I want to have the parts of cyberspace that can fly around and stuff like that. And those are things I have to be able to do, right? That you can totally do it with Blender. I have to get better at Blender, or find somebody who is.
Task you with all the other missions and assignments that.
Yeah, we have a lot of other jobs. It's not my only task.
Yes.
We have other things that are usually more pressing than me animating the next 10 seconds of video.
That's what it takes, operating an international multi-million-dollar corporation. That's what happens.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
But no, it's going to be cool. I think I'm really happy with where Robin is right now, and I'm having a lot of trouble with Blurp, because he's a soft-bodied character. And so I can make his face move and stuff. I can make him talk, but getting his tentacles to move and stuff like that the way I want them to has been very weird. And when I translate him over and try to render it, one time I told you about this, right? I try to render him, and whatever I did wrong, I put him in this place. He's sitting in his chair, and he's supposed to be typing on a computer and talking. I go to play it. It moves him to another part. He starts growing into this monster with his limbs moving in all directions. He overcomes the whole ship. It's totally my ass.
I think we could use that. We can use that for something.
And then, so I got rid of that. And next thing I know, his eyes and teeth are floating out in space. Giant eyes and teeth floating in space. I'm like, how did this happen? I'm like, I don't know how this is even in this, and it keeps coming back. Like, I get
a whole
rid of
episode just on that.
Like, why are his eyes and teeth existing when I erase the rest of him, and then they just appear up here, like 20 times bigger than he was, right? So it's just me not knowing the ins and outs of the program well enough to even know what's going on. I'm like, how is this happening?
Oh,
but well, that's also a really good community though. The Blender artist community is a really good community. The people that create add-ons and stuff like that are really easy to, like, just send them an email and say, like, so I'm having trouble with this. And I had one of them when I was having trouble with Robin's face. He said, can you just send it to me and I'll see if I can fix it?
That's nice.
Right. So they're people that actually care about what they're doing, and they care about, because what's going to probably happen is he's going to take it and he's going to see where I was having the problem that allows him to improve his product. Right. And we need more people like that in the world that think that way. Right.
That's nice to hear about Blender. Do you want to talk about any other topics today? Because I know you got a hard stop.
No, we got about 9 minutes left. I did want to talk about Encanto, right?
Yes.
I think that it's probably one of the best things that Disney has done in a long time in a lot of ways. I've not been a big fan of the last few big musical Disney cartoons, right? I wasn't crazy. I thought Tangled was pretty good, but I wasn't totally crazy about it. Frozen had Frozen had some things I liked, but I thought the music wasn't. But I kind of feel that way about Encanto too. Some of the songs in Encanto are not great. I liked Moana, but again, most of the songs I thought weren't
It
very
had The
good.
Rock. How could you
I mean, it
not
was what it
like?
was, right? I mean, it was what it was. Moana was good. I'm not saying it wasn't good. I
Yeah,
just thought that I mean, I thought that was a good one. I thought Frozen was kind of over what do
overrated.
you call it?
Yep,
Overrated.
yep.
Um, I think
And
most of
Frozen
this.
2 was even more overrated.
I never saw it. Didn't
Oh,
even bother.
probably mine.
I think Moana. I went. Me and Justice is getting older. He's a little less wanting to go see those things. Now he's into Star Wars and Marvel more than anything else, or anything kind of Lord of the Ring-ish.
Well, at least you have an excuse to go see Star Wars. I have to go make up stuff just for myself to go see it all by myself, but that's okay. I have
See,
more than
I
enough
don't, I
reasons.
don't have to have an excuse. I'll just go see whatever I want. I do. I've all Justice has been like kind of my film buddy for years. So, um, but anyway, with Encanto, I think it was great overall, and I think that what's so interesting is, and I don't want to do this too much spoiler on anybody, but
Right.
I think there's somebody who said this, right? I just saw somebody saying this, and I go, that's so true. In Encanto, at the end, the grandmother apologizes to everybody except for Bruno.
Oh, wait. I know Bruno was always
She
left out
openly apologizes
to
to
even the
every
crowd
person except Bruno, who was treated the worst.
of everybody.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's interesting. I think
she
Bruno is
did.
interesting. Just the character and the whole thing about Bruno, I think, is really interesting. But the thing I think that's so good about that film is that, we talked about this before. What makes any work of art really good is that everybody who watches it has their own feelings about it, and it
Yes.
meant something to them personal that is maybe totally different than what it meant to somebody else.
Yes. And what I saw with their advertisement, did they use the name Encanto, or like, because I thought it was Enchanto or Encanto, which would be in incantonation, right?
Well, it
With my
may.
upbringing.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they pronounced it. They might have put Encanto. Encanto is how you would say it in Spanish. So I mean,
Right.
I was raised in I was raised with Hispanic American
Yeah.
people. So
I was raised I
I
was
learned
raised
how
by
to
an
say
English
stuff
lit
right.
teacher. Right. English lit was incantonation. That's all I
Yeah.
ever heard. Right.
When I used to teach down on the border, I had my sister's name is Pamela. I had a student's name Pamela. I learned to have to say Pamela. It's whenever time I saw it, I would want to say Pamela. But you learn, right? You
Yep.
learn to
Real quick.
adjust. You learn to
Yep.
adjust to your audience, right? So, but I thought I thought it was really great. I think, and there are a lot of people talking about, I've seen so many people talk about different things that they thought were meaningful about it. To me, I think what was interesting is, and I could be, this is my uh, film theory on it, right? Um, the movie is all about the grandmother's hopes
Yes.
and dreams, right?
Yes.
So the whole magic came from her hopes and dreams for her children.
In the future.
The
Yep.
protection of them, everything. The candle became magic because of her desire for her 3 infants to be protected and to have a good life, right?
Yes.
The candle started going out when she stopped seeing
The
how
value.
the hope and good expectations of the children,
And
right?
Bruno was one of those children, right?
Yeah, because look at whenever Bruno's room lost all of its magic.
Yes. Or it was always dark.
Yeah. The magic door went away. I mean, the door was still there, but it became unmagic.
Right.
because her expectation of Bruno and her value of Bruno went away. The reason Maribel didn't have magic, of course, this is totally from my point of view, is because she did not see anything special in Maribel.
Oh.
So the reason the door didn't work wasn't Maribel's fault. It was her fault.
Yes. Because Maribel had belief, because Maribel was going up the stairs. Maribel had her expectations. And then you could see in the grandmother's eyes as she was going up that there was nothing.
And look at the magic each person had. It was something that was already part of their personality that
and defined
noticed,
an expectation
that she had noticed, right? The little boy loved animals. He got one that had to do with animals. The beautiful daughter, her version of what was beautiful was what the daughter's magic was. And the daughter was, until the daughter started seeing her own ability, right? The strength, all these things came from the grandmother's idea of what their value was. But that's just, again, that's what makes it good, is that I can come up with that and somebody else can come up with something different. Right? It's called universality.
And I liked your one comment that there's a Bruno in every family.
Yeah, there's a Bruno in every family, and if you don't know who it is, it's probably you.
I love that.
I think I'm a Bruno in my family. So.
Sadly, the Bruno in my family was my sister, but she also knew it.
We don't talk about Bobby. Okay. So that was all. I think we would, it gives us, I just like to guess. I like us using this format to get together. It makes it easy for us to share it with people. And
and the recording, right? We don't have to have a ton of stuff set up.
I don't need 30 minutes of setup time.
Yep.
And everything else, right? It takes
don't have to have everything staged, even though there's a little bit of mess over here.
Yeah. It's actually easier to edit this than it is to edit us sitting next to each other. Even if I did two cameras, then it takes literally, this hour would take me an hour just to load the video from my camera into my computer.
Yep.
At least.
Well, and then all the stage setup, and then trading the scan card, and then dropping it all off, right?
Yeah.
And so it makes a great format.
Yeah. So we should do this more often. We should do this at least once a week.
Yes. You're certainly worth the time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's worth it to people to see more than just, I think there are people that need to know that we are interested in the same things they're interested in life, right?
Yes, absolutely, right. And get the key points of who we are, what the company's about, what we're interested in, what they're interested in, and that we're all working towards the same thing. Right?
Yeah, and if we shamelessly plug that they need to have downloaded the Arro Social app, they need to be posting every day, whatever they're posting on everything else. They need to post on Arro Social too.
And get your value. Yeah.
They need to be watching Arro TV, and if they're a filmmaker, they need to be sending me stuff. I will put it up there. If it's not porn, I will put it up there. Odds are, right?
No porn.
I don't want you to send me porn because I do not want to look at it. As soon as I notice that it's porn, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to delete it. So keep your own copy. don't send me the only copy.
All right. Yeah. All right.
That's everything.
2 o'clock. Hard stop. We did not talk
I gotta
about
go.
The men's secret realm of.
Yeah, we didn't need to talk about that. I still got some of that to post. And apparently someone has taken the audacity. A man has taken the audacity and has moved it. This is what I was worried about with this whole war. It's just it's a free-for-all.
Yes.
They could say there's allegiances, but what it is just a free-for-all at this point.
It's the man's
Everybody's taking the audacity. Just leave it where it was. We were willing to protect it.
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Anyway. And Ryan Reynolds is still silent. So
I think that's the key.
With that, it's probably time for us to go.
Thank you, man.
Right. Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.